Islamophobe Zionist Piers Morgan tried his best to smear the Muslims over child sex abuse that are being largely committed by white male population in UK. Nevertheless, he found a way to blame the Muslims. Take a listen at how Mehdi Hasan is reacting to all of this disgusting Islamophobia, racist slants from Piers Morgan.
That's not true. In those specific towns, yes, but as a phenomenon in the UK.
What do you mean it's not true?
As a national phenomenon, the Home Office... Can I finish your sentence, Piers, or are we going to get through this interview?
Sure.
Every time I start a sentence, you interrupt me.
Go on.
The Home Office, under a Conservative government in 2020, put out a report, not sure if you've seen it, got a lot of coverage, saying that the majority of men in grooming gangs, which is not a great phrase, are white men under the age of 30. That was the...
Okay, so let me prove his point. Of Mehdi Hasan's point. So this is what was published. If you take a look at these numbers here, and you can clearly see this was published by the Home Office, UK Home Office. 88% of the child sexual abuse took place was done by white British, and then white Irish, they committed 0%, and then you also have any other with background, white background. Clearly shows, guys, that the Asians, they are not the sole perpetrator, and they are quite less in terms of the percentage compared to the white male in UK. The Asians are only 7% compared to 88% of the British white male. So Mehdi Hasan, he was quoting this report published by the Home Office. And Piers Morgan, he kept on pushing this agenda of Islamophobia, and look how Mehdi Hasan is reacting.
Survey data that they found, they said we need more research. It's not a hard and fast result. We don't have enough ethnicity data. Do you know a lot of police forces, Piers, 30, 40, 50% of victims and perpetrators, they just don't register the ethnicity.
How many white
That's
men?
Not to say
how many
that
white
specific
men?
Gangs,
Okay. How many white men?
That's not to say specific gangs in
men
Rotherham and Rochdale and Telford were brown.
Okay. So let's just focus
But Piers, here's what bothers me. And you asked me about Elon Musk.
Sorry,
I didn't get a chance to get to that because you cut me off.
Hang on, I'm allowed to respond to what you just said. Because the reality is, what you're doing is you're massively distorting. You're massively distorting the story, aren't you? Because
you, Piers, you are distorting the truth. You are spreading disinformation. You are the one who is peddling this Islamophobia on your platform.
You are. I started telling you about Alexis J. You jumped in with your gotcha about Rotherham. Have you read the 20 recommendations of Alexis J's report? Can you tell your viewers what the 20 recommendations are?
It's not a gotcha.
How many times is Rotherham mentioned in the report? It is. Have you read the 468-page report?
Mehdi, when I went on your show recently, I let you ask me all sorts of questions because it was your show. Okay? I'm asking
and I let you
questions
answer them. You ever let me finish a sentence?
I have.
You ever let me finish a sentence?
You keep saying things which I want to
challenge.
You keep saying things I want to challenge.
Yeah, so let me say them, and then you challenge them. So let me just say them, and I promise, I say them, and then you challenge me.
Let me ask you a question.
I'll say them really fast. I speak really fast. Let me just say them. Alexis J says no need for a new inquiry because her 20 recommendations,
I don't agree with her.
You don't know what they are, haven't been implemented yet.
I know.
But that's fine. I do agree with her. David Greenwood, who was this lawyer for the victims in Rotherham. You mentioned Rotherham as a gotcha, I think. David Greenwood, who was a lawyer in Rotherham of the girls. He was that's my opinion. I have a right to opinion. David Greenwood, the lawyer in Rotherham, of the dozens of girls, he's the guy who represented the girls in Rotherham. He says, I don't think we should have another inquiry. There's too many inquiries. We need action. We need to get the recommendations done. Another inquiry, he says, would be a distraction. Now, that's not a gotcha on my end either. Maybe we should have another action inquiry. I don't feel that strongly about it. I'm just telling you, Piers, for your viewers who are following Elon Musk's nonsense, a man who knows nothing about this stuff, that David Greenwood, a lawyer involved in this, and Alexis J, who did an inquiry in Rotherham and then did a national inquiry, says we shouldn't have another inquiry.
Yeah, and I'm making the point that in her national inquiry,
you and I are not experts.
I'm making the point in her national inquiry, she mentioned Rotherham once, and there to me is the problem. But the other problem,
and in her Rotherham inquiry, she covered it in detail.
Mehdi,
she also said, don't make a link between Pakistani men and this problem, because white men also are involved in grooming gangs.
Rape gang scandal in the 50 towns and villages involved in this rape gang scandal. Tell me this. You've just tried to suggest that more white men were doing it than British Pakistani men. Bit of a surprise.
The Home Office
bit of a surprise, I would think, to everyone you've just named.
That's the Home Office report.
Who've done the report. Okay, so how many white men involved in this rape gang scandal?
That's the Home Office research, Piers. Facts don't care about your feelings.
Hang on. How many white men have been taken to court, charged and or convicted of raping these white girls in these 50 towns and villages, just for the record.
Okay.
That is the point, Piers Morgan. That's the point. You do not know how many of them were charged, these white men. And then you come on your TV, your channel, claiming that the Pakistanis are responsible for all of this, when you do not even have the answer yourself. He did not answer the question. The question he's asking, how many white men were charged? Well, you tell us, because this obviously is not coming on the news, how many white men were charged. I mean, of course, we see that all the time in the newspaper, that some white men, they're committing this, abuse against children. We see that all the time. But do we have those official figures? How many of them in total? No, we don't, because the British media, for some strange reason, they just vanish those numbers. They don't want to shame their community. Do you think the British media, the British people, will be broadcasting how many white men are perverts? No, they will not do that. Again, the reports will be published, cases will be brought to public attention every time they happen. But that's it. That's one of incident. That's how they will portray it. Oh, one of incident, something happened in Rochdale, or something happened there and London and Manchester, and that's it. But if you want to really see the whole picture, you have to do your own investigation. You will find a lot of them. You will find a lot of white men. I'm not saying white men are bad or better or worse than Pakistani men. I'm not saying that. But when Piers Morgan comes up with this kind of nonsense, he really needs to know what he's talking about. He cannot even answer his own question. How many white men were charged? Well, Piers, you go and do an investigation, and then you come and tell us, do you know less white men were charged than Pakistani British Muslim men? Then you come and make a claim, but you do not have those numbers. And then you are just, shouting. You're having a shouting match with Mehdi Hasan. Every time he wants to say something and refute you, you stop him. Unbelievable.
All right, I don't have the full numbers, but let me give you some examples. In 2023 in Glasgow,
what
there
percentage?
were 7 years of child
Give me
sex
a
crimes
percentage.
prosecuted. Piers.
No, you give us percentage, Piers. Why you depend on Mehdi Hasan? And then when Mehdi Hasan will give you an answer, you don't trust him. You dismiss him. You say, oh, no, Mehdi Hasan, you are just biased. You are this, you are that. You're trying to defend the Pakistani Muslims and all that. This guy is beyond pathetic. I think he should be learning how to ask questions, should have more information before he even asks those questions. He doesn't have any knowledge whatsoever, just like he doesn't have any knowledge about Gaza, what is happening there. He doesn't have any knowledge what is happening with the British Pakistani Muslims and the white male who are abusing these children.
We don't have the percentages. That's the whole point.
We know that the very, very, very vast majority are actually British Pakistanis.
So hold on.
What you're trying to deflect it into thinking it's somehow white men doing all this.
Oh my God.
No, he's not trying to deflect. He's not trying to paint any picture of the British white men being so bad. No, he's not doing that. You are doing it on the other hand. You are blaming squarely on the Pakistanis. All of these British Muslims, somehow they are responsible for all of this gang grooming. Now, take a look at some of these comments here. A Pakistani grooming gang does not represent Islam any more than this represents Christianity. How often Piers Morgan will go on his TV channel, his on YouTube channel, and talk about this abuse by the church? Never. You'll never hear him talking about this. But somebody pointed out that these people, even though they work for the church, they don't represent Christianity. Just like this Muslim, any Muslim for that matter, do not represent Islam, whoever is committing such heinous crime. So Catholic Church child sexual abuse scandal. Piers Morgan, he will never talk about that. Then you have this guy. He's actually a lawyer, the chief prosecutor, Nazir Afzal. He is the one who put this evil people behind bars, these Pakistani so-called, those Asians who committed this crime. A Muslim prosecuted them. So do you need more proof that Muslims are against it? Let's take a listen at what Loki is saying here.
One of the things that the entire media reproduced uncritically, and this is now relevant to what's happening today in the country, was this idea that over 80% of grooming gang cases were Pakistani men. So what they mean by grooming gangs is they mean men over the age of 18
Well, all of these accusations are coming from guys like Elon Musk, who doesn't have any knowledge, doesn't have any understanding what is happening in the UK. But this guy, just like Piers Morgan, talks without knowledge on these matters. He should shut his mouth. Now, you can see there was this report published. Most child sexual abuse gangs made up of white men. Home Office report says. So as to what Mehdi Hasan just mentioned, we gotta stop the white grooming gang, said no one. How curious. So again, we don't speak of this crime in the sense that we talk about the perpetrator, their ethnic background, their race, their color, because it is white people, it is a white man. But every time we talk about this particular topic, this issue in the UK, somehow we come up with Pakistani. So this is a smear campaign against the Muslims, against the Pakistanis in the UK, that is being run by billionaires like Elon Musk. Of course, these people are paying to run this kind of propaganda. Now, Tommy Robinson is another guy who is also doing this, and adult grooming pedophile gangs exposed. And this guy, Tommy Robinson, he was called out on many occasions for his Islamophobe. Tommy Robinson claimed that he was exposing grooming gangs, but in reality he headed EDL, which was full of pedophiles and groomers. His friends and followers disproportionately abused victims. Even there is this video, I think, on YouTube where it was mentioned that Elon Musk, his father, he committed incest with his stepdaughter. So yeah, we don't talk about those things. It's only the Pakistani man or the Muslims. These are bad people, bad. And then you also have this kind of parrots like Piers Morgan parroting those things on his TV, trying to convince the whole world somehow these Muslims, they're bad people, and that we should be aware of the crime, and we need to stop the Muslims. We need to stop them coming to our country, because if they come, this crime will just become more rampant. This is what he's trying to portray to all of us, unfortunately. But Piers Morgan is just a complete, blatant racist.